Hello everybody, welcome to another live cast. So this is interesting. This is going to be, what is it, our third or fourth one, and each time we're doing this we're kind of doing it a little bit differently because we're learning along the way. So this is pretty interesting, and just like makers and hackers that we are, and just like who you are, we have to iterate. And so this has been an interesting journey. Definitely have learned a lot. And I think like we're going to be better for it. So we really want to thank you guys and girls for coming along on this journey with us. And we're going to definitely like hack this out. And you know what? This is going to have to become like a blog series on like how to do like streaming correctly, and like how to prevent people from running into all the pitfalls that we ran into. I'm looking at my partner in crime, Chris.
Don't do what we do. I'm actually on a microphone today, so people can hear me too. We're getting a little better.
So one of the positive iterations is we have Chris on the microphone now. So Chris Gamble is the silent guy, is the talking voice in the background. So Chris is so right now we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook. That's the only two places that we're streaming. We decided that was going to be the best place for the best performance, and we want to give you guys the best performance. Crowdcast was giving us a little bit of issues before. So right now, Chris is going to be manning the comments on both sides. So if you guys and girls have any questions, go ahead and post a comment in there, and Chris will be able to answer those. At the same time, as I'm going through and I want to share any links with you, then I'm going to have Chris find that and pull that up. So without further ado.
So we should say today, we labeled this as a custom mobile user interfaces. So what's the deal with that?
Yes, yep. So that's what I was just going to dive into. So just like we do with all webcasts, before we dive into it, we do a dry run. And today, when we were doing a dry run of this webcast, we ran into a couple issues, and we tried to fix them in time, but we ran out of time, and it was just evident that we needed more time to be able to present these solutions to you. So today we're going to be kind of shifting gears, and I hope you guys don't mind. I know that you really were looking forward to the front end, but we're still going to do some front end stuff. We're still going to be showing like how we're going to get data out into a dashboard, but we're going to be changing it up a little bit, and I think you're going to like it. Last week we did the gateway, the cellular gateway. And so this week, instead of building a custom interface, we're going to continue where we left off last week. We're going to go through the gateway, or we're going to start off where we ended on the gateway, where we didn't quite get to the cellular, showing everyone cellular in the cloud. So we're going to start off by getting the gateway up and running again, really quick, do a quick overview, get data going up into the cloud, and then we're going to show off our cloud router and pushing data into LowSANT. If you guys don't know about LowSANT, you definitely should check them out. They're very cool. We're going to show off the integration that we have and their dashboards today. So let's get to it. All right. So Chris, before we dive in this is good. You got on the right camera. Can you share though? Actually, if you can share my desktop.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the new tutorial.
If you could share this link.
Yes.
So everyone, another apology. I with the rush of turkey dinner and Thanksgiving that came into the States, and I hope everyone had a great holiday time, I forgot to hit the publish button on the gateway tutorial. So that's up on Hackster right now. And then we also have another one which is linked to it. Actually, you don't need to post this if you don't want, because that's at the bottom of this. So we're going to be going through this again, this gateway. So Chris is going to post that link.
Cool.
I think you got it?
I'll find it.
Okay, cool. I think if you look under my name, you probably get it. So. Awesome.
And that is the Benstr, so you can also see that.
The Benstr. I know, it's kind of cheesy, everyone. Okay, let's dive into it. So if I can get my tabletop. Here. Thank you, sir. All right, so my box of goodies. We're going to do this from the beginning, or not from the beginning, but we're going to do it raw. Since we kind of called an audible here, everyone's going to see this happen. So if you don't remember, if you didn't join us, we're going to do a quick overview of this. But essentially, what we have is, let's see here. Can I see what I got going on here? There we go. Cool. Essentially, what we have is a cellular gateway, which means that we have a Raspberry Pi in the center collecting data from NodeMCUs. They're communicating through MQTT. And then we're going to hook up a cellular dongle, the Hologram Nova, and then we're going to be broadcasting data up into the cloud. So when we left off last, we walked through setting this up. We walked through setting up these node modules, and we walked through getting data through MQTT. And we fell short of sending data through cellular. We quickly showed the code, and then we had to scoot. And so I want to dive into that really quick. If everyone is on the tutorial, let me see where we're at. It would be step 6. And if you're on the tutorial, we're going to swing back to my desktop. Oh, no, you were good. Sorry. I didn't notice that.
I'll figure it out.
Oops. Let's see what Zoom looks like on this. Uh-oh. Did I just break Hackster? Sorry for the Zoom, or for the scroll. I can't stand it when people scroll really fast.
Is there a way to look at an index on Hackster?
There is. I just zoomed in, though.
Oh, got it.
And so I think that it's responsive web biting us a little bit.
It's the JavaScript developers. That's the problem, man.
It's the JavaScript.
Every time.
That's what bit us today.
Yeah.
Is JavaScript.
You were the JavaScript.
Oh my goodness. But I do want to promise that we will get content out for that. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so we're going to dive into adding cellular to this gateway. But before we do that, I want to scroll down to the bottom really quick. And in the conclusions, I have some thoughts. And one of my thoughts were around topics. There's a couple things that we went through really fast in this tutorial, and we could do better. One of them was what we subscribe to, and there's a second bullet point here. We could have done it a little bit better, and so today we're going to do that. But first, let's get it up into the cloud. Rock and roll. Okie dokie, let's get a cord. Did I not grab a cord?
Big old box of cords, I think. So.
Big old box of cords.
Yeah.
Should I pick it up and show them?
Yeah.
I might get injured. Should I?
The actual full box, yeah. Yes, we're trying to get organized. Right
Yes. In the midst of Thanksgiving and these videos and getting our studio set up, we also moved offices. So it's been a wild couple weeks. All right, the cord I'm looking for is not in there.
Well, that's good too, because we, a lot of the people that are doing this, right? So this contest goes through January 5th, and all of the people that are doing that are probably going to be doing it over the holidays too. So it's good to, kind of point out that yes, it's a tough timeline, but
yeah,
it's a good time to do it, right? I mean, if people are students or whatever, they can go and do the finish up the contest over the holidays.
Absolutely.
What should they do if they weren't the 200 lucky ones to get the kit in the mail?
If they weren't one of the 200 lucky ones?
Right. So we gave away 200 kits if people don't know.
Yeah.
So is there any option if they don't? If they wanted to self-fund?
Yeah. So they can definitely compete and earn honor. The Novas are selling pretty quick. I don't know what our inventory level is on them.
I think we're still good on that.
Yeah. So we have them in the store. I think we could. I don't have approval for a discount, so I want to seal my mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Hologram Nova is what's really required for this contest, and you can go ahead and purchase that at the store and participate. We're going to be giving away iPhone watches, the cellular version. This is not the cellular version. I do not have the cool red dot, so I'm not as cool as the winners that's going to win this.
But if they already had all the hardware otherwise, what could they maybe do? Dev plan stuff? Maybe you could show dev plan real quick?
Yeah.
As a refresher?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So if you do have cellular hardware, Hologram can work with any cellular hardware. And one of the things I'm very excited about is our dev plan. Whoa, not Dave plan, dev plan. And what's really stellar about this is that we give away 1 megabyte of data every month and free access to the platform. So normally it's 40 cents a month per SIM. Dev plan SIMs are free, and the first megabyte's free. So that gets you over 1,000 messages, or even 5,000 messages if you're doing raw AT commands. And so I encourage everyone to go ahead and get into the dev plan. And then if you use High Five as your promo code, you get a bonus $5.
That's nice.
Ooh, ooh.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, totally.
So how are we doing on the cables then?
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a short one. We're just not going to be able to show this off as much as I would like. I do swear, I did think that we had a long one.
USB-C.
Ooh. I think I'm in luck here. Oh, score. Oh. All right, I'm going to spend 10 seconds on this, and then I'm going to scoot. Oh my gosh, and look what happened. I found it. That's amazing. Sorry for the noise, everyone, if it's annoying. All right. So the reason why I was looking for a special cord is because I have the new MacBook, and USB-C is the new standard. So Chris is over here messing with our tabletop camera.
Hey. We're doing it live.
Doing it live.
Maybe you can walk them through it otherwise on the...
Yeah, can you jump us over? Nice.
Do that for now and I'll get the camera.
Yeah, totally. Is it on my desktop?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this Raspberry Pi to my computer through the USB input on it, not through the power. And I just disconnected the Hologram Nova from it. So there's only one thing plugged in right now. And if everyone remembers, we are sharing our internet with this device. So we're going to go to network. And we're going to wait till this network gadget gets fired up. So it might take a minute for the Pi to fire up. Now, what's really interesting here, and what's going to get sticky, is, oh, so that's what happened.
Yeah.
Ran out of batteries. Okay, so what's really going to get sticky here, all right, we're connected, great, is that, where was I at? Oh. We're going to have to disconnect it eventually from this USB line once we start doing cellular. And so how are we going to SSH into it? We're going to actually SSH through the Wi-Fi that it's created. So if you don't remember, the Raspberry Pi, we have it in AP mode, in access point mode right now. It's actually broadcasting out a Wi-Fi signal. So if you come over here and you look on my Wi-Fi, friendly Raspberry is there. We're not going to connect to that since it doesn't have any internet. But that's for the NodeMCUs to connect to. What we're going to do instead is we're going to SSH into it. Woo, one more extra. should pick it up. Uh-oh, that was wrong. There we go. And we are in. And I have two files in here. I have the gateway.py and the gateway_cell. And in this tutorial, I walk through building the two. But if you don't want to walk through that and you want to jump right to the end, in the repo that's linked to that Hackster post, we have gateway_cell and gateway here. And what we're going to walk through really quick here is this is where we left off. So I want to do a really quick run through on this. This is code that we want to run on the Raspberry Pi. And what it is going to do is it's going to subscribe to the Mosquito MQTT broker that's running in the background. And it's going to wait for messages to come in from the NodeMCUs. And so really quick down here, we instantiate a client from the MQTT library. And then we connect our onConnect and onMessage functions to it, which are up here. And then we connect to the actual broker. And since we are running this script, this client script, on the same device that's actually the broker itself, the server, then the broker is localhost. And all MQTT brokers run on port 1883 to begin with. And then the MQTT client has its own loop, which is really nice. I put this while loop down here just to keep it alive because the script will still die off. And this client loop would do us no good then. So this is running, and we'll be able to then see messages coming in from the NodeMCU. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to double check since we're just like starting from scratch here, kind of, or just getting started up again. I just want to verify that this is going to work. So that's connected, and I am going to actually take a NodeMCU, which I know I have.
You also have your camera back if you didn't see.
Whew. Thanks, Chris.
No problem, man. More cables.
More cables.
The life of a MacBook owner.
It's such a joke, isn't it? I'm going to clean up here because I don't want people to get confused on what we're doing. Cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this.
So right now the Raspberry Pi is...
The Raspberry Pi is running. We have a loop going. It's subscribed to a topic, but we have nothing publishing to that topic right now. So we're going to hook up a NodeMCU that I know that we programmed before in the last week. We're going to hook that up right now, apply power to it, and we should then see data come through the terminal.
And I'll post a link in the chat also to the stuff from last week. So we have that. That's still online.
Oh, great.
Yep.
I wonder if I fried this thing on accident. I don't see any lights coming up. I'm going to move back to my desktop really quick, and I'm going to fire up the Arduino IDE.
We've had people that say they can't see the text in the past, but if you can't see the text, switch your YouTube or your Facebook over to 1080p. That's what we wanted to get Benstr's whole desktop.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a setting that they need to change?
Yep, that's
okay.
right. Yeah,
cool.
It's a little gear icon, and then they can change it to HD. They should be able to see it fine.
And I think last week oh, here we go. Cool. Wow, there's no shortcut to increase font size?
No, remember yeah.
Wow, that's bizarre. An Arduino. Okay, So I was seeing if this is connected, and it looks like it's picking up this. And I'm going to then flash it. For some reason, it's not coming through. Yeah. So let's upload it and see if we get something. Oh, I'm so glad I have this. This is going to come in handy.
Show it to the camera. What is it? What are you talking about? Other camera. But this
Are
one.
we?
Show it to this one. This power bank.
Can you change this monitor so I could kind of see what?
Oh, sure.
What's active?
Yep.
Cool. That will help me a lot. Thank you.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. So a big fat power bank. While this is uploading, it's almost done. This is 30,000 milliamp hours. This is solid, man. All right, so we got 3 ports.
So why do you need that though? Just
All right, so I'm going to use this because I want to totally disconnect the NodeMCU. So after I flash them, I'm going to power them to this. They're not connected to anything except for the Wi-Fi.
Oh, so it's like a remote node, kind of.
It's like, yeah, it's pretty much remote node. It's powered through something else. Yep. So we'll save that for later. All right, so the NodeMCU is going, and it's not bringing stuff in.
How can you tell that it's powered from that red LED? But then what? Can you tell if it's transmitting data right now?
Let's open up serial monitor. Let's see what we got. So the baud is right. So it looks like it's trying to connect to the Wi-Fi.
So the node will output some kind of text as it's trying to connect?
Yes. So if we can walk through the script really quick. Here we have a function called setup Wi-Fi, and it's going to print out what it's connecting to and the name. And it's going to go ahead and start and connect. And then it's going to go ahead and tell us if it's connected and give us the IP address that it has. So that should be in the setup. So while we know this one's flashed, I'm just going to move it over to this power bank to ensure that it's getting the power that it needs.
So you're saying if it doesn't, if it's not getting enough juice to actually transmit?
Oh no. Should really come through. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to just verify that we are, while we're waiting for that. Okay, so we have the topic right. And we have the topic right. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So for all intents and purposes, this should work. Whoops. All right.
Hey, can you make that text a little bigger? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, totally. Sorry, everyone.
So right now, gateway.py is just watching for those topics?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have the NodeMCU that's publishing, and we got the Raspberry Pi that's subscribed to that.
Okay.
So the data should come through.
And so unless we see that exact topic, so right now, unless we see what the node is specifically publishing, then we wouldn't see the...
Yeah. So while this is going on, we got a couple other NodeMCUs here. Let's go ahead and flash these suckers. Let's just see if we can get something showing up, eh?
I think that's always the hard part for me is that I see that it's so there's nothing to really troubleshoot because there's nothing visual about it, right? So unless you're sending everything to the serial output, it's tough to do.
Yeah. The other thing is that the build quality is not always genuine. So when you buy affordable NodeMCUs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so these aren't official hardware.
Well, so sometimes they're marketed as official, and then you get them and you're surprised that they're not. So I got these, and I wanted Amica boards. I really like Amica, but if you could see, yeah, we'll put it on this camera here. We're missing something in the middle of that cloud. We're missing the node icon. So let's see. I think this one should be authentic. It is. See that? Lovely.
Right.
So
when you buy them in bulk on Alibaba or whatever it was.
yeah. Do It is pretty good too. So these are the Do It brands. They're pretty good.
So these are just all different brands.
Well, so they all should be Amica NodeMCUs. So this is official. So that's good. This one I don't know what this is. This is not legit. But if you look at the layout and the components, it's exactly the same. It's a legit module from Expressive. So fun stuff. I don't know. I think we should go to China and see what's up one of these days.
Right. It's the short jaunt to China.
All right. So I have a new one going here, and it's having the same issues. And I get a blue light on this, and I'm pretty sure this is, So what I want to do here is I want to see if I can connect to the Raspberry Pi, to the friendly Raspberry. Let's see if that's possible. So the password was Hologram. I wonder if this is not. Look at that.
So
we're
you're
not able to connect.
Okay. So could you just reset the Raspberry Pi Zero?
I am. Yep. We're going to have to. Let's power cycle this and see what we get.
Yeah, this is pretty common kind of stuff too. It's like, well, like I said, you can't see what's actually happening, right? All you have is the.
Yeah.
All that you have is the listing on your computer.
So when I was going through this, because I tested it quite a bit, I did see this once before, and I think it's just like a power issue.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
This is Raspberry Pi being
not like physical like electricity power, but just like underpowered.
Oh.
I think something's happening.
Well, what is the Raspberry Pi being powered with?
So right now it's being powered over USB, and thank you for bringing that up.
So maybe if that goes into the brick?
I think, yes. You know what, Chris?
What's that?
I did not bring an approved plug for the Pi.
I have one here.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
That's great. Okay, I need one. I'm going to steal that.
Do you have an unapproved plug?
Well, see, so it's not approved. I just need, when I mentioned that, I need the power. So I need the 5 volts, 2.4 amp, I think. So what do I have here? Ooh, this might work. Okay, so if you do really need it, I think I might have one. Okay. This is hilarious. Everyone's gonna, I can't imagine what people are thinking right now. Thank you, Chris. I'm gonna bring the power bank over here. All right, you know what? This is a bummer. We better get stuff up in the cloud. All right, it's cycled through, it's powered up. Let's see if we can connect. And so the reason why it's stuck on my face is because Chris is helping get our system over here rolling now that I stole one of his plugs. All right. Oh, look, we're connected, guys. We're connected. Woohoo! Okay, this is great. So let's disconnect.
So you think that was the
Oh,
power,
look at this.
the power going?
Look, it's
okay.
connected. It's publishing.
Okay, so that's actually a good. That's my realm. The importance of a solid power source.
Well, so it's interesting because we did two things here, so we don't really know what the issue was. So we
Oh, that's
power
true.
cycled the
That's
Raspberry Pi and we applied power.
But as general good practice, the Raspberry Pi needs a pretty what's called stiff power supply, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it definitely, and I had that linked in almost everything I do in Raspberry Pi because when dealing with cellular, you're really like grabbing a lot of energy. The modules that are out there right now, the 2G, 3G, they're very energy inefficient. And so they really do a big drag on the power. And so you definitely need to have the right power source.
It looks like William in the YouTube chat also said that he had issues when there was running GPS and the Nova together too. So
Ooh.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, it's good. It's good feedback to have for everybody. It's like if you're having issues, that's just one thing you can just get out of the way. Right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. There are a lot of plugs that you'll have in your house, and it will be 5 volt, 1 amp, or half amp. And really, you need a 2.4 or higher amperage with a 5 volt plug. And that's the recommended one. If you go on Raspberry Pi Foundation, they recommend that. And then it's required when you're plugging in something that will drain the USB, like the cellular module.
And as William says too, having a good USB micro cable as well, because there's like you said, even with the quality of the builds so far,
Yeah, you know why I'm laughing?
what is it?
Is because USB-C. So it's like such a messy spec because there's Thunderbolt, there's USB-C that's meant for power, and then there's USB-C for data. And like, how am I gonna tell apart my cables going forward? Yeah, so wildness. Awesome. All right, enough talking. Let's get back in here. We're gonna go ahead and just SSH really quick into this Raspberry Pi. We're going to, whoa, I don't know what's going on here. We're going to run gateway, and we should be getting stuff coming through. Boom, just like that. It's coming through.
So this is coming from the NodeMCU.
Yes, it's
So-
actually coming from 2 NodeMCUs. So if you see the staggered numbers on here, let's see
Oh,
if
yeah.
we can.
Oh, you mean they're different indexes?
Yeah, yep.
Right.
Yep. So every time they send a message, we're bumping up the number, and so so the staggeredness means like 2 devices. And if you look, I have 2 devices going right now. So they were running.
I only see one actually.
Yeah. So I got one over here. I got one on a short cable on my USB.
Okay.
So just like right over here where my finger is. Okay. Cool. But what I'm going to do now is what's really cool is I'm going to disconnect this, and you're going to see one fall off. And we're only going to have one of them then broadcasting.
Looks like they both stopped.
Ooh.
Did you?
Oh,
Oh,
here we
wait,
go.
no, there it goes again. Oh, I see. It just didn't catch some of
Interesting.
those.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And then now, the cool thing about this is you can just one-off plug them into power, and they'll automatically just fire up, connect, and start broadcasting. How cool is that? So now you can just like continue to grow your house or whatever you're connecting over
Oh,
and
so
over.
it powers on and just starts to.
Powers on and just connects.
Nice.
Yep.
Guys, I'm gonna watch the screen as you do that.
Okay. So now we got 2 plugged in.
Yep, there you go. Started
There we
over at
go.
1. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so what was the topic that you had, like that it's actually subscribing to there?
Yeah, so next thing that I would want to do is like just get stuff in the cloud. But then I want to go back on topics. But let me show you what we have here.
Oh, so is it just watching everything right now?
So right now I have both devices publishing to one topic. And so I'm not really showing off what MQTT topics can do and the power of them. And that was one of my criticisms at the bottom of my tutorial. So if we have time today, which I think we will, then we're going to dive in and just like update the topics and kind of show off how you should do it. So how it's recommended, each device should kind of have their own topic with then a common subtopic. And then whoever is subscribing to that, they either can pull in the data from one device or they can do a wildcard. And I'm going to show everyone a wildcard, and then we'll broadcast that up. But before we do that, let's go ahead and end this script. And let's go ahead and just double check this gateway cellular. Okay, so it's subscribing to the right one. Up here, it's connecting to the Hologram cloud. It's using no keys need to be passed for authentication. It's using our TOTP one-time passwords to log into the cloud, super secure. I'm calling Network Connect. And then I think the rest of the work is right here. Hologram send message. And then Hologram disconnect. And we're doing that on every on message. But we're sleeping for 5 seconds. Let's go ahead and see what this does. I think I want to sleep 10 seconds though. Okay. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And while that's firing up, whoa, here we go. Okay, on line 8, we have an issue. Modem not detected. Oh, I'm moving so fast. I'm moving so fast I didn't even plug the thing in.
There it is right there. You can see the USB plug.
Here it is. All right, so really quick. Hey, pop quiz everybody. We have this USB port taken up. This is how we're communicating over serial to the device, but yet we need to plug in our modem. What are we going to do? Let me show you.
Unplug it.
We're going to unplug it, but first I need to exit properly. So we're logged out. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go on to the Wi-Fi. So we're going to go on to Friendly Raspberry. Now we're going to lose internet when we do this, and we're on. Great.
You're saying that you were connected via the Ethernet USB.
Yes.
But now you're connected via the Wi-Fi that it's broadcasting as an access point.
That's right. So if you look on the desktop here, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. And this is still in AP mode. It still has power because we plugged in the power. And so I'm going to go ahead and plug in the Hologram Nova. And we're going to let that fire up for a second.
And how can you tell when the Nova's working?
Yeah, this is great. So right here we got a solid light coming in red. So that means that it's powered up. And right now it's going to be looking for a network to connect to. So we have the power. Oh, and a blinking blue light means that there's a network available. When that blue light goes solid, that means that we have connected to the network, but I haven't called the script to connect yet. So back to my desktop, we are on we're back on mHub guest. Let's get back on the Raspberry Pi.
If you had accidentally unplugged the Raspberry Pi, would it come back up as AP mode?
Yes.
Okay. Because like when you were handling that, it looked like you could have knocked the power up. Like it's
Totally.
possible to knock the power up.
Totally.
Not that you did.
And it could have like spiked a little bit. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what's
like
going on.
browning out
here.
the power.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what's going on?
It looks like it's blinking. Everything's blinking still. So
Everything's blinking.
looks like the Raspberry Pi is
It's
blinking.
getting a little shady on the Wi-Fi. Ooh, and we're on. Okay, so that is interesting. So that took a while. All right, so we're going to be able to SSH into this now. We're on its network, so we're able to get into it. Yes. We're here. All right. And so now we'll be able to call this, and we shouldn't have a disconnect error. The Nova should be connected.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Ooh, and I see the light go solid on the Nova. So it's connected to the network. So that was the first part. Oh, and now back to my desktop, you can see that the MQTT library connected. And now we just need data to come through.
So now the nodes are still transmitting their data, but it's just waiting for that.
So we have a little issue here. And I think the Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi is being flaky again. So if you go on my desktop, you can see like we're losing connection. So if we're losing connection, chances are the NodeMCUs are having a hard time connecting too. I think I might have burned out this Raspberry Pi.
Is that a common thing?
No, I never ran into it yet.
I usually don't jump to that conclusion personally.
No, I shouldn't. But I do have another one. Ooh.
Is it programmed or no?
It's not, but we could move the SD card out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And everything should be good then because
Well, it's still it's solid green on the Raspberry Pi, right?
So, we're connected again. So let's just.
So you probably lost your SSH.
Yeah. Well, we're still in a. Okay, so it disconnected, and now. So we are controlling it. So I'm looking at the blinking light.
It just went solid. Yeah.
All right, so the script's running.
So if you did ran the you have the gateway.py. If you ran that again, would that tell if the node MCUs are transmitting? Gateway.py instead of gateway.cell.py.
So the interesting thing is I took the exact same script from gateway
Yeah.
.py, and so everything that should be printed out should be printed out in this as well.
Right. I just mean that we could take out the power draw of the Nova and test it just to see if the nodes are still transmitting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. Let's just verify where we're at. Okay. Let's do that. Ooh. Okay.
So this should just show if the nodes are
Yep.
connected, right?
I'm going to power cycle one of these. Now the contest has a constraint of the Raspberry Pi Zero. So that's why, if you're asking why we're using it, that's why. But obviously Raspberry Pi 3 might have been a better, more solid choice. All right, let's see here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and plug it in locally and see. So this is interesting. We didn't change any code, but nothing's being broadcasted. Let's just verify that we're connected. Yep, we're on the friendly Raspberry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect one of these. And plug it into my computer here. And let's see what we get.
Is it possible?
So
Is it possible to tell if the Raspberry Pi is transmitting right now from this view? Is it the blinking LED, the green one?
Transmitting cellular or transmitting Wi-Fi?
Transmitting Wi-Fi.
So yeah, so we're testing it. I'm looking on my desktop here. I'm looking back to see that I'm able to be connected to friendly Raspberry.
I meant like on the physical though, on the green. So when it's in access point mode, will the green LED for Wi-Fi blink?
No.
Okay.
Or I don't know.
Because I know it does it as a client. As a client, it'll blink when it's connected to someone else's Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah. I think that's just like an activity LED. I don't know. I shouldn't say anything. I'm just guessing.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Do you
just,
know-
these are just good troubleshooting things. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was blinking before. That's why I asked.
Yeah. So I think it's an activity light. Like
Okay.
it blinks when it's starting up. So.
Okay.
But I don't know. Okay. So here we go. Let's go ahead and close out of this serial and open up another one. It's having a hard time connecting to the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to just exit. Oh, whoops, sorry. I'm in a script right here. Exity. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi. And now let's see if this thing connects. Isn't this bizarre?
A little bit.
It is a little bizarre.
I mean,
This is-
so
this
some of
is
it's
what-
power stuff, right? So you could, so I just think about troubleshooting stuff. You could also try and unplug the Nova and see if the Wi-Fi comes back. Right. So if
Yeah.
it's that would show if it's a power thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So-
That's the last.
But then the other thing would be if the Ethernet was controlling more of it than you thought it was, or if it was powering it or whatever.
Sorry, what were you saying about the Ethernet?
So if the Ethernet, which was that was a connection, that was effectively like a USB over Ethernet thing.
Yeah.
Or sorry, it was a network over Ethernet over USB thing.
Yeah.
And if you had more control or something, if unplugging that messed something up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's power cycle to Pi. I think the NodeMCUs are working. From everything that we've tested, like they're pretty solid, and they're just searching for a Wi-Fi. So I think we can rule that out. The Pi's been a little flaky, but we're really like pushing its limits.
Yeah, you
So-
see that LED is going at
Yeah.
different rates now, but that usually that's activity probably.
All right. I'm just going to turn on my Wi-Fi here. And friendly Raspberry's showing up. So this should connect.
And this is showing the serial console to the NodeMCU, correct?
Yeah, so I have one of the nodes here.
Well, now that you've power cycled the Raspberry Pi, could you power cycle the Node?
Yeah, I mean, so it's on a loop. So there is a reconnect function inside of these, so that every time it goes through its loop, if it will check if it's connected. If it's not, it will try to connect. So that's, and there is no timeout on that. Yeah.
Got it. I think about this stuff. This is good. This is just it's almost like an exercise to kind of get to know all of these different pieces, right? So you get Node, you've got, it's a lot of different integration pieces here.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're redoing a tutorial we've already done is good. It shows that there's, there are regularly issues with this stuff.
So this is really interesting because we were able to connect to the Wi-Fi from my computer, unable to connect to the Wi-Fi from these nodes. Yep, that was really fast.
We have some suggestions here.
Ooh, great.
Maybe bounce the Pi.
Bounce the Pi.
I'm not sure what that means. Also, gremlins.
Maybe ping the Pi? They meant?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're SSHing into it, so it's definitely alive. Oh, look at this. Look, it's cycling. I think the Wi-Fi is a little flaky on this. I think that this is the weakest point that we have.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, since we're having a hard time with this, just to be, just to say that we did a complete job here, I'm going to bring in the new Pi
That's also what Chuck suggested.
All right, Chuck.
And bounce apparently means reboot.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we power cycled it already. Yeah, that's good to know. New terminology.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
It also means that our audience is participating. Thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Let's see.
So YouTube audience is killing it. What's the Facebook
Facebook's
audience?
a little quiet today. That's okay.
Ooh,
We're new on Facebook. There's only 2 watchers,
yeah.
and we're one of them, I think.
Okay. Fun times in the office. Okay, so we're gonna let this fire up. And we're gonna pretend that we're just starting off exactly where we are. So I'm not gonna hook it up through USB. I'm gonna see if we can connect to it. The Wi-Fi is popping up. I see the activity like going a little bit, so I'm gonna give it a second.
And so all of the stuff that you stored on there should just be stored on the SD card. So it should just transfer over to any new hardware you have.
Yes, but the MAC address is gonna be different. So when we SSH in, I might have a security warning.
Oh, like the authentication warning.
But we'll see. Whoops. I got to open up a new tab because I didn't terminate that one accurately. Oh, cool. There we go.
There it is.
All right. I tell you what, it's already seeming stronger to me. Let's fire up the standard gateway. Boom.
Okay.
There we go. We got both of them connected.
Okay.
This is a thing.
Well, I guess the real question is, what should people do if they have a similar problem? Because getting Raspberry Pi Zeros is not necessarily
Well, I tell you
easy.
what. So this was I probably abused this thing pretty bad.
Oh, this has been in like travel bags and such?
This is a travel bag. I tried to put a case on it because I was banging it around quite a bit. And I was like, I should probably put a case on it after the fact. I was putting it through the ringer on like power and what I can get away with on the USB and everything. So I must have done something with this. I'm gonna put on me. Raspberry Pi Foundation puts out some pretty stellar hardware. So I'm just gonna say I did something to it.
Ben the Destroyer.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
The Benstr.
Yeah.
That's what it actually stands for.
Oh,
Okay,
whoops.
so you're going to plug in the...
Oh, we're going to get an error because I forgot again to plug in the USB. All right, we're going to go right into cellular. We're going to try and get something in the cloud. Let's do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to disconnect this from power. And then I'm going to plug this in. See, it got wonky when there was power and I put cell to it right away, right?
I mean, we don't want to encourage like voodooism troubleshooting, right? Where people are like, well, when I hold my hand like this, then it works. But when I
see, but today,
this is a hardware versus software person.
Today, voodoo is coming after us.
No.
Like we are not.
Voodoo has no place here.
All right, cool. I'm gonna see if we are. Oh, open up another tab. Get back on this Wi-Fi. I wonder if we have a more powerful power adapter.
So what is it right now? I mean, we're trying to transmit Wi-Fi and cellular, both which have pretty stringent.
Yeah. All right, we're on. That was really fast. Okay.
Oh, I lost it again though.
Oof.
Well, it's still showing as it's showing as blinking still in your Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, and I was able to SSH into it, so let's see here. Yeah,
could you try a hologram command line to connect to the Hologram Nova?
So really quick, just gonna run this. Yeah, we'll do the we'll do CLI next.
Which is command line interface for those not in the know, like myself at the beginning.
Yeah, so the Hologram SDK, I really like using the Python library, and I encourage everyone to use that as much as possible. And the CLI is something that we have, the command line interface, where we could test our connection pretty quick. So now we're at the point where we have a new Pi, we confirm that the NodeMCUs work. So like once we have power going, let's go ahead and test the Nova. Okay, so looks like we're back to where we were.
Can you slide that down a little bit, the frame?
Where are we at? Sorry, team. Okay, so luckily I still have one NodeMCU next to me connected, and it looks like it might be struggling. So let's go ahead and open up a serial here. Failed. It's going to retry in 5 seconds. Interesting. So that means it's connected to Wi-Fi, but it wasn't able to connect to the NodeMCU, the MQTT. Interesting. Whereas this was able to connect to the MQTT. Oh. Don't you love it? In the comments, everyone, you have to love it when you're trying everything and you're like, I think I'm at the end of this debugging session. I think I've tested everything, and then you get a new error message.
Yep.
So now we're seeing a new error message. Okay. This is
Okay, so now the
pretty solid.
The node is trying to connect to Wi-Fi and it's having issues.
Well, okay, so here, let me explain what this serial monitor is saying to us. So when it has these dots, it's trying to connect to Wi-Fi. But what we were getting previously was an MQTT publication error. It was unable to connect to the MQTT broker. So that was what that message was, which is brand new. We didn't receive that yet.
So that means that it could be connected to Wi-Fi, but it's not, though. The broker, which is on the Raspberry Pi, is not necessarily talking back.
Well, so before the NodeMCUs can publish data, they need to connect to the broker, and then the broker sends back a message confirming that they're connected. If they don't get that, then they're not going to send data. The interesting thing is, if you look at the Raspberry Pi here and we're connected to it, result code 0 is a positive. It means a positive connection to the broker. So the broker is running, but yet some clients can't connect to it. This client was able to. So that was interesting. And now you see it's having Wi-Fi issues. So if it's not one thing, it's the other. Okay, so while this funky thing is going on, I'm just going to see if we can connect to Hologram. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to log into Hologram. Oh, you know what? And I'm never going to get there. Let's get on Wi-Fi, huh? Let's get connected to the internet. Let's amp this up. All right, we're connected. I'm going to connect into my Hackster account, and I have our device here.
Your Hackster demo account on the Hologram
demo
dashboard.
Account.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The Benstr plus Hackster. All right, cool. So what we're going to do here is we are connected. We're going to pop up console, and then we're going to go into Hologram docs. And here we go, Hologram CLI. So I'm going to walk this through just so you know how I would do it if I were you. So we already have the SDK installed. And, whoa, this is cool. We can activate a SIM from the CLI. All right, team, engineers. I did not know that. So what we're going to be doing, though, is we're going to be doing a cloud SIM. We can actually verify here we go. You know what? Let's totally verify this signal. I'm curious. Whoops, that's not working.
So this is going to talk from the Raspberry Pi. Your SSH in the Raspberry Pi, and you're talking to the Nova through the CLI.
Ah,
You got to connect to the Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi again.
yeah. Back to the Wi-Fi. Wow, that connected really fast. Let's see what the signal is. I have the bigger antenna on it because we are in, uh-oh. Oh, my bad, it's my fault. We're dealing with network level stuff, so we need to be sudo.
Sudo, make me a sandwich.
Super user. Wow, you could tell our Pi is really chugging through stuff. All right, that's pretty solid.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. Can you show that display again?
12.2. So that's a pretty good strength.
Which is 12.2, right?
No, it stands for two different things.
Okay.
I think. It's not European decimals.
I thought it was.
No. But what I want to do really quick is show off something really cool. Is hologram modem location. Oh, this is one of my favorite features, and I can't wait to see someone use this in a really interesting way. But what this does is it triangulates its location based off of
Did you have to
cell towers.
sudo again?
Oops. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so like I was saying, it triangulates its location off of cell towers. And so it's going to come back and it's going to estimate what our longitude and latitude is. Longitude and latitude. There we go. Oh my gosh, my engineering days. All right, here we go. So this is totally not going to be accurate. If you fire up your phone really quick and you open up a GPS app and you see the big circle, and then that circle shrinks down eventually when the satellites find you, the big circle, that represents the cell tower's triangulation. So your cell phones actually do that. And then when it zooms down, that's when the satellites got you locked, and so does the government.
And even
All
more
right.
when the Wi-Fi is kicked on, right?
All right, so everything's working really good here. So let's send some data.
So you're gonna simulate sending some data like your Python script would normally do.
Yes. All right, so send data via the CSR PRK authentication. I don't want to do that. I actually want to use TOTP because that's the one-time password. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the auth type to it. And I think we have some demos down here. Here we go. So that's what we're going to do. Ah! Thanks, Chris. Super user. I should just like elevate myself to super user privilege. But for the demo, I shouldn't assume that because
Yeah,
then other people won't do that.
Right, it's also
Yeah.
bad security practice.
Yeah. Failed to close socket. Oh, that's not too good. But it was able to send successfully.
See, that's weird too, because the usually when you something like that, you'd see it was still solid, but on the it's the blue light is not solid; it's blinking. So that means it's at least closed.
Well,
It's not connected to the tower right now.
So it's interesting. This is actually a good time. Well, so let's jump to I'm going to explain that in a second. There's some neat things happening in the background. So I'm going to switch back to Wi-Fi to connect me to the internet. I'm going to go to my dashboard. And am I connected? I should be. Oh, there's my message. All right. So we're sending successfully. So back to why that light was blinking really quick, and it didn't go solid. So what Chris was was mentioning to people, he was keeping an eye out on this. And when we sent that message from the CLI, it didn't go solid. So what that means is we're actually working on some new, more efficient functionality that is going to be available to everyone in all the functions eventually. So there are two things that are going on here. You could do raw AT commands and send data through AT commands from the modem. That way you do not need to touch the network manager at all, and you do not need to make a network interface. Whereas when you're calling Hologram Connect, you're actually making a network interface, and then you're sending stuff through the network. So when that light is solid, that means that you have a network interface connected, and you are literally connected to the world. You can surf the web and browse. You can update your Pi through that while you're connected. But that you might not want to always do that. You might want to just send raw AT commands and just text strings up to the cloud. And so we're going to be able, in the future, we're going to give you the option with the SDK, and that's going to be coming out real soon.
It saves data too.
Saves tons of data, and it also saves you from accidentally using up data, because the Pi likes to update itself in the background. I like that side camera. You know why?
Yeah. Gets the full beard.
It shows, man, I really don't see that
It's time
often.
it's time to
I'm
trim the beard.
not. I did trim it for Thanksgiving. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not shaving it though.
Oh no.
No. I'm gonna see how long you can get. Maybe in January. I'll
Jeez.
pull it back.
Okay. It's important. Yeah.
Okay, so we verified that the NodeMCUs work. We verified that the Raspberry Pi works when it wants to. We verified that the Hologram Nova does work. The flakiest part is the Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi. That's really disappointing.
So what can we do? Maybe we can update. I mean, we're kind of running over.
Yeah, we're running over, but we should like draw this to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Right now.
Did you want to send a different tag real quick too? I mean, you can do that from the CLI, right? Of sending a different topic. If you want to show how to do that real
Yeah,
quick.
I think we can end there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll show that.
And we'll update later about the Wi-Fi issues. We'll keep testing that.
I think it's like testing. We're going to have to just do further testing. It's interesting because there's probably some nuances inside the Raspberry Pi where we're going to be able to configure some power savings here or there, and then all of a sudden it's going to become more performant. All right, so I'm just going to remove this the Hologram Nova, and I am going to go ahead and connect back to the USB serial here, just because then we don't have to get all weird with stuff. All right, so now I can stay connected to the internet and SSH into it.
So this is going over Ethernet now, or it's going over Wi-Fi?
So it's going over USB Ethernet.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know it's confusing. I'm jumping around quite a bit. Thank you for everyone who's following along with us. You are pretty darn solid for doing this.
If they have any questions, they can ask now, and we'll get to them at the end of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So while I update this, so right here, this is the code for the NodeMCU. Down here at the client publish, this is what we're sending back to the MQTT broker. And the first part is the topic, and the next part is the message. And the message is put together right here. Hello hologram, and it's that iterative number that keeps on growing every time it sends. But this topic here, I have a little bit of a problem here with it. Typically, you don't want to do it this way. Oops, sorry. Don't know why I pulled that up. So typically what you want to do is you want to be descriptive. Think of it as like folders, and you want to have things categorized correctly and then subcategorized correctly. So what we could do is we could call this, I don't know, we can call this whole project like I want to put temperature sensors. I want to put DHT sensors on this eventually. So I'm going to do, I'm going to call this EnviroSense. That's what the whole thing is going to be. And then next what we could do is pull in the location that it's at. So we can go ahead and say one of these is going to be in the kitchen, which is the one that I'm going to be programming here. And then it's going to be broadcasting temp. So this is pretty solid right here. So that's what we're gonna be broadcasting this to. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the other one that I have here. And once this gets to 100%, I'm going to switch them out. And we're going to change this one. It's not going to be in the kitchen, it's going to be in the living room. How about that? And so it's going to be broadcasting to 2 different topics. The reason why you want to do this is if you think about it, you might have a bunch of sensors in this EnviroSense cluster in the living room or in the kitchen. And so it makes a lot of sense that one, you're part of the family, EnviroSense is the family, the project, and then you want to be located in the room. And then one might be doing water detection, another one's temperature, another one is visibility, luminosity, whatever the sensors are. And so then that was what the third topic is exactly what it's broadcasting.
Right, you can also do all the sensors in the living room, right? You could dice it and slice it different ways, right? All the sensors in the living room or all the temp sensors in the house.
Yes, so what Chris is referring to is then consuming the data. So we need to be if I could give you guys some instructions on MQ, or some guidelines, you would want to be very precise when you're publishing data. And then when you're subscribing to it, that's when it gets interesting. You could be very precise if you need to, or you could introduce wildcards. And so once I program this, we're going to dive into the Python script that's on the Raspberry Pi that's actually subscribing to this. I'm going to show you a wildcard. So I have a new Pi plugged in now, or a new NodeMCU. It's set up, it's registered, but it's not in the kitchen anymore. So we want to put this in the den. How about that? Cool. And we're going to publish this. All right, and that's uploading.
So these are the messages that'll start just kind of broadcasting as soon as it's plugged in?
Yep, and so I'm going to go ahead and power this up. So we're going to leave the NodeMCU that's being flashed right now into my computer. It's just going to power up and start working. And then we're going to plug up the new one. And here's why I want to keep this plugged into my computer. Okay, it's at 100%. I'm going to open up a serial monitor. This should have no problem connecting to the Wi-Fi now. The Wi-Fi. I'm going to reboot. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get a necklace that says sudo on it so I don't forget. All right. We're going to power cycle this, and then I'm going to show you something pretty interesting. Of course, this isn't connecting because there's nothing to connect to, but it should have something to connect to shortly. Yep, friendly raspberry.
Is there any way to tell on the nodes when they're connected to Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so it should broadcast, should tell us in the serial monitor.
I meant physically on the device. Is there like an LED that blinks?
I haven't programmed it, but you can. And you have the pins available to you as well. I'm not taking advantage of any of the pins. Here we go, so we're connected. So if you want to see this, so Wi-Fi connected, IP address attempting to MQTT broker, it connected to the broker. But again, it's broadcasting into the broker, but nothing's subscribing to it. So I want to prove that to you really quick. If you remember, we didn't touch this Python library yet, so it's still subscribed to, I think it's node/value. So we're going to go ahead and run that. And it's connected to the MQTT broker, but nothing's coming through because nothing's being broadcasted to there. So we're going to go ahead and exit out. And we're going to we're going to edit this. And right now, it's subscribed to a topic, node value. Nothing's being sent to there. So instead what we're going to do is EnviroSense. And if you remember, we had den, and then we had temp. But what we can do here is interesting. MQTT has things called wildcards. So we can put a wildcard in here, and that means that it's going to pull in everything that's under there. It needs to be in EnviroSense. It needs to be broadcasting temp, but where it's broadcasting from, whether it's the kitchen or the living room or the den, it's going to bring them all in. So if we do this, and then we run gateway. Whoops, sorry guys. Whoa, whoa. Oh, you know what? Did I do this wrong? Was it environ or enviro? And then I think it threw an error. So I wonder if let me just pull this up over here.
You think you might have the wrong? There's more than one wildcard, right?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two types of wildcards, but I think like some need parentheses, so it might need to be escaped out. I don't know. Let me
While we do that, let's ask some of the questions. There was a question in the YouTube chat. How reliable is a cell tower-based location triangulation? I believe it's in the tens to hundreds of meters. So if that's the reliable question there.
Well, it's not going to put you on the other side of the world. So I guess
Yeah,
reliability is an interesting word.
State level.
Well, so reliability is different than precision.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very reliable because once you have signal,
Right.
then that means you're connected to a tower. And just like how satellites, and just like how when you have GPS, you're connecting to multiple satellites, and then you have a stronger connection. Cellular, you need to connect to multiple towers, so
Right.
you can tower hop when you go back and forth. So it's very reliable. The precision
That's
is
the 10 to hundreds of meters. Yeah.
so when you're in an urban area in the city, GPS is really flaky because it's bouncing off buildings, right? You know what's really good is cell triangulation because there's so many towers around there, so
Right.
it can really pinpoint you. But then when you're out in the suburbs, it could be up to 1,000 feet off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the towers are farther apart, there's less obstructions, and so GPS works. So
Sensor fusion.
yeah. All right, so just for fun, I'm going to take that off, and then I'm going to verify that EnviroSense, not Environ.
Is there a way to monitor all tags, all topics that
There is.
a node is broadcasting?
There is.
Because you had it just listening.
Well, okay, so you said something interesting just now. I want to make sure I get this right, so I'm going to paste this in. So you said everything that a node is broadcasting?
So like you were looking at certain topics.
Yeah.
But the ideal troubleshooting case would be like look at all traffic that's coming into the broker. Is there any way to check that? Do you know?
Yeah, and I don't know off the top of my head because I'm kind of new to this, but it's the dollar sign symbol system.
Okay. So that's like the ultimate wild card.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we can definitely. Here we go. In fact, I think that's what it is. It's just dollar sign system for everything. We can certainly try it, but let's do this first. Whoops. Sorry, team.
Hey, it worked.
There we go.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. So it is showing those. It shows kitchen and den as the actual topic there.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So if we, whoops. Sorry. So if we come up here, like what Chris was saying, we have, this now helps us because we know that kitchen was broadcasting this, hello hologram 174, and then we know den was broadcasting this, and it was the same one, 174. We must have started them like right at the same time. Yeah. So, but now you can differentiate between them.
That's just good practice for keeping your
Yeah.
data straight. So when it does go up to the cloud, you can start to pass it off to different. You might want to send the den temperature to a den monitor, right?
So the interesting thing is, what we could do is you can, so up here I have a global that everyone's sharing in the script, which is one subtopic. But theoretically, you could subscribe to many of them at different times inside the loop, and then have different logic. So you can have like one huge dump of data going up to an S3 bucket, and then you could be siphoning off security features to maybe an if this then that, so that you can get notified, and then monitoring over to LowSant or some charting system. Yeah. So then you would have one script looping through everything, but then you would have different logic for different subscriptions.
Right. And so we'll try and show that next time of passing that data out to other services or UIs and stuff like that.
Absolutely. We're gonna do some.
We'll keep
testing.
streaming until the end, man.
Let's keep on doing this.
No, not today.
Stream
not
the
today.
world.
Not today.
All right, team. I really want to thank you for coming today and really like living through this with us, experiencing this with us. It certainly didn't go as planned, so I apologize for that. But at the same time, we're living on the edge, right? So we're always exploring new things and trying new things. And I think we made a lot of legroom or a lot of steps forward today. One thing that I really liked that we dove into was troubleshooting and stepping through all the hardware. Everyone got to see how we would do that. And then at the same time, we were able to dive into MQTT and explain topics a little bit more. And then we ultimately got to see data in the cloud, but it wasn't coming from our nodes, unfortunately. So we'll come back with more. I'm going to update the tutorial. We're going to figure this out so that we can get this going. Thanks, team.
Bye.